Good morning, good morning, good morning. Facebook fam, they are building an audience for me. That's always fun. Always fun. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining Get Me Through Wednesdays. My big brother, DeMont, Graves Hall, Morehouse College. Good to see you, dog. Get Me Through Wednesday. Happy New Year to you all. Good morning, Yvette, Clark, Atlanta, my homegirl. Good to see you. Happy New Year, family. Hope that your New Year was a blessed one. That you were able to get through the holidays and enjoy your family and your friends and not overdo it on gifts and food like I did. But if you did, it's all right. It's okay. If you are in the LA area, I do want to invite you out on January 22nd. We're going to be doing our Friends and Family Day at the church, Chosen Generation Fellowship Church, located at 1430 East 103rd Street in LA. 90002 is the zip code. Happy New Year, Betty. Good to see you. Yeah, if you guys can come out, be a part of that. We'll be doing have a cool little children's ministry set up for the kids. We'll definitely get a word, and then we'll also be serving food after the service and fellowship. So please, if you are in the LA area, come out, join us on January 22nd at 12 o'clock. The address is 1430. All right, I think we back. Saying my connection is weak. Chosen Generation Fellowship Church, 1430 East 103rd Street. All right, guys. Keep telling me my signal is weak, so I had to move myself. See if this helps us a little bit. All right. So let us get into our Get Me Through Wednesday. Keisha, I see you. Thanks for joining. Aunt Gertha, thanks for joining. Let's get into our Get Me Through Wednesday today. As we start the year off, I'm not really one that's big on resolutions. I think that, as we talked about last week, just resolving ourselves and bringing ourselves to resolve what we're going to do this year is always very tricky. But what I wanted to start off with today is for our first Get Me Through Wednesday of 2017, I want to talk about ownership. Ownership. Ownership is something that over the last year or so, I've learned more and more about. And it's not just ownership from a business perspective. It's ownership as far as our personal time and our space and who we are. Hopefully this will help with our connection. For whatever reason, I'm having poor connection this morning. We want to talk about ownership. So when we deal with ownership, ownership is something that it comes down to our time. We have to own. My homegirl Nikki, I see you. Pastor Felicia, I see you. When we talk about ownership, ownership deals with our time and deals with our space and deals with who we are. Because of social media, because of our lives being so hectic, we don't take enough time to own our lives and own our space and our time and who we are. Ownership is very, very important when it comes to doing what it is that you need to do. The thing that I've appreciated over the last year is that I've had wise counsel. A good friend of mine, Pastor Peter Watts, tell me that I've got to own my time, because if not, you wind up giving your time away and your energy and all of that. And then when at the end of the day, you've given and poured yourself out to everybody else, And then when you need it, you don't have it. So ownership is very important. I think this year for 2017, we have to be very, very intentional with our ownership, which means that we've got to take some things back. In the scriptures, it talks about over in the Old Testament, God told the children of Israel, go and possess the land. We have got to possess our time. We've got to possess our energy. We've got to possess our love. We've got to possess our thoughts and our words. Possession deals with control. That means you are controlling it. So many times that we're in a relationship, we give our control to someone else. Ownership is important because of the simple fact that a lot of times we allow people to rent space and not have them pay us a rental fee because we're giving away all of our stuff. We're giving away our love. We're giving away our bodies. We're giving away our minds, and we allow other people to possess what should be rightfully ours. So the first thing I want to tell you is that you've got to possess who you are. You've got to control who you are. If you're not in control of yourself, someone else is. So that means you got to be real, real intentional with owning who you are. You got to take possession of you. Don't allow anybody else to possess your thoughts. Don't allow anybody else to possess your mind. And if people are in your life and they don't want to be respectful of who you are and respect you for who you are, they don't need to have possession of your time and your abilities. As I tell people all the time, if people treat you like an appetizer, don't get mad when they don't pay a full course meal price for you. If you want to be the main course, then you have to demand that you are the main course. You're not an appetizer. You're not a side dish. You're not a dessert. You are the main course. So when we are together in a relationship, you got to treat me like I'm the main course. But you've got to demand that you take possession of that. If not, someone else will. And don't get mad when they take possession of it and they control it and you don't like what they do. Because whoever controls the strings, that's the puppet master. So the first thing with ownership is you've got to take possession. The second thing is you've got to take responsibility. You've got to be responsible for who you are. You got to be responsible for your time. You got to be responsible for those things that you do. Responsibility comes about through accountability. The beautiful thing is I have a brother, Pastor Pete. He's my accountability partner. He's who I check in with. He's who I drive things through. He's who I share my thoughts with. He's who I share my hurts with. He's who I share some of the things that I battle with, and even the good stuff. I need an accountability partner because that accountability partner keeps me responsible for those things that I have, that I'm owning, that I'm over, that I'm possessing. And I don't want you to get this twisted, like this is a control thing or this is somewhat of a master type mentality. But I own my children. I have possession of my children. God blessed me with those children. He gave me those children. So I have ownership over them. And while I have ownership over them, I'm responsible for them, which means that my kids can't run rockshod. I have to be responsible for them. He's given me dominion and ownership over my wife as well. Now, that doesn't mean that I run her and I abuse her and I treat her like she's my servant. Not at all. But I do have responsibility for her. I do have to be accountable for how I treat her and how her life plays out and who she is and what she's all about. That's my responsibility. That's no one else's responsibility but mine. So ownership is about possession. Ownership is about responsibility, but ownership is also about being a creator. Now that gets kind of tricky for the simple fact that doesn't mean that we are God. But it does mean that we are creators of who we are and how our life plays out. Brian Watson, I see you, buddy. We are the creator of what we do. Big brother Charles, Chuck Davis from Oaktown, I see you, man. We are the creator. That means that we have the responsibility to create our destiny. Some of us did not do what we needed to do in 2016 because we were not creators. We were receivers. You are responsible for creating where you want to go. Now, yes, that does mean that God's grace is working. That does mean that God has still written your destiny, but you still have the responsibility, there's that word again, to create and to be the director of your management. You are a director of management when it comes to your life. Pete, I see you, man. You are the director of how your life plays out. It is your responsibility to create how you want your life to play out. And sometimes that means you've got to sit down and really write out, how do you want your life to flow? How do you want your thing, those things that you did not get done in 2016 to get done in 2017? There's nobody else responsible for that except for you. But you got to take ownership. That means ownership means that there's going to be some late nights. There's going to be some times that you can't take a vacation. There's going to be some times that you have to take a back seat to some of the other things that you try to do. That means that sometimes it's not always going to be a bed of roses. You got to be responsible. You got to take possession, and you got to be the creator of what it is that you want to flow out of your life. What are you going to create this year? I want to leave you with this. You have some 363 or 362 days. That's a blank canvas for you. What are you going to create? When I look at a blank canvas, I'm looking at a canvas like, okay, what do you want me to do with that? But when an artist looks at a blank canvas, they see creativity. They see possibility. They see something that now they have the ability to paint and to decorate that canvas in the vision that they have. What are you going to do with your blank canvas? What are you going to do in 2017? What are you going to create? What are you going to be responsible for? What are you going to take possession of? Ultimately, what are you going to own? If you are sad, you own your happiness. If you feel rejected, you own that. You have to be responsible and own that when someone else rejects you, you have to accept you. You own that. No one else is responsible for loving you the way that you need to be loved until you first love yourself. You own that. Everything in life this year is under your ownership. It's under your direction. Now walk in that. Thank you guys for joining. Brian Watson, Charles Davis, Peter Watts, Nikki High, Aunt Gertha, Pastor Felicia. There's some other folks that are on here that have joined us. Keisha, Demont, Betty, Yvette. Thank you guys for joining the Get Me Through Wednesday. Ownership. So take away from this ownership 3 things: possession, responsibility, creator. Those are the 3 things that you've got to do this year to get ownership of your life, whatever your situation is. I don't know it, but I know that if I'm struggling, you're struggling too. But we got to own it. All right. So let's walk into that. Let's not forget, as a reminder, if you are in the LA area on January 22nd, Chosen Generations Friend and Family Day will take place at 12 p.m. at 1430 East 103rd Street, Los Angeles, 90002. Come out. You'll get a word. You'll have children's church. For our kids that show up, we'll have a great children's ministry, and we'll also have food there after the service. Come out and be a part of that. Let me and Sister Karen love on you, and let the Chosen G family just welcome you in and give you some of what we got, which is God's goodness. God bless you. I'm Pastor Said, and I'm out.